Okay, usual success habits. I think we can very much start with what I shared earlier, diba? Una, define what success means to you. And then you have to try a different angle, um, explore, experiment, and execute. And then finally, focus on the process. I think these are very basic already. I wouldn't want to go into very specifics like, dapat gigising ka ng 4 a.m. or you should do this and do that. I think what's really important is choose one. Whatever it is, you can just choose one that works for you. And what's really important is that you're very consistent with it. Kasi you might have a long list of success habits, but if you're not able to do it, or if you're only able to do it, let's say for 1 week, and then after that you don't do it anymore, then it's not going to work out. So start with what's simple, and do what works for you, because it's different also for different people. Oh, for me, I make it a point always to pause and to reflect when something happens to me. So whether it's a good thing that happens or whether it's something that not so good, it's a challenge, I pause and ask myself, what's happening here? What's going on? And what is this telling me? Because from there, that's where we will be able to learn. We always hear the words or the phrase, we learn from experience. But the reality is, it's not really from the experience per se that we learn, but we learn by reflecting on our experience, right? Because if something happens to you, but you don't really spend time to, think about it, reflect on it, what happened here, what went wrong here, what could I do better next time, then you still won't learn, right? So that's, for me, that's one thing that I do. I reflect on events, situations, challenges, wins, and then what went wrong here, what helped me succeed, what made me fail, what could I do better next time. And that's how I learn, that's how I grow. Okay, I think the advantage mainly is that, well, particularly for what I shared earlier, is that it helps you just keep moving, right? And not just get fixated on a fixed goal, because there will always be bigger goals to pursue. There will always be bigger fish to fry, right? Or bigger fish to catch. So that's the advantage. It helps you keep going and it makes you thrive. And I heard this also in the video, diba? We're not just here to survive. We're not just here to survive the challenges of the pandemic and all that, but we also want to thrive. So having the success habits would help you thrive and really do well. The disadvantage, I can't really think of a specific disadvantage, but I guess if you try to do something that doesn't work for you, maybe it might backfire, right? So if you try to do, well, let's say your friend says, I do this every day, I like to journal, for example, my wins and all that, but if you're really not the type who would like to journal and like to write, then don't force yourself to do it. Find something that works for you. Actually, it's trial and error, right? Like what I shared earlier, exploring and reflecting really helps. So I noticed, for example, like in the pandemic, let's say in the first part of the pandemic, I worked a certain way. I had a particular schedule that I followed, but there came a point where I already felt super stressed and really tired. And that's when, again, like what I said earlier, I paused and I asked myself, okay, what's causing the stress? What's causing my tiredness? Is it because of the work per se? Is it the way that I'm doing the work? Is it the people that I'm working with? And then from there, I recalibrated. Or I changed my strategy. Okay, sige, this is what I'll do next time. I'll try starting to work at this time and at this time, or maybe this is the schedule that I should follow, and do that. So it's really trial and error, because sometimes even if you've already found something that works for you, because as people, we evolve, right? Especially when something happens to you, let's say you get married, you have kids, or maybe the pandemic happened. things will change, right? And what used to work for you before might not work for you anymore, right? So maybe for some people, let's say, before it works for you na when at night, you're so inspired, you can do a lot of work. But maybe now, because we're getting old or for whatever reason, your life circumstances doesn't support it, then maybe that won't work. So it's really trial and error. One thing that I'd like to couple that with is the pause. And Adi shared this earlier, diba? Sometimes because it's our business, it's different, diba? If you own a business versus you're an employee, you just really you put so much of yourself into it. But also have self-compassion, and that's why a lot of people now are stressed or experiencing, mental wellness challenges and all that. Also be kind to yourself, practice self-compassion, give yourself that chance to pause also. And I remember this quote that I came across that said, like, when you're so busy, that's actually a sign that you need to pause and to rest. So yeah, go work towards your goals, work hard, work smart, but then don't forget to be kind to yourself, and don't forget also to give yourself that chance to pause.